Hi, everybody. This is Sam, and this is my strengths presentation. Um, I don't know about any of you, but I struggled a little bit with this project. It seemed very simple on paper, but as someone that struggled with low self-esteem, it was sort of a challenge for me, but I think it was a good one for me to take on. But anyways, for mine, I decided to break up my image into three separate panels. And I used markers and pencils just on sketchbook paper that I taped together to make the three panels. So for the first two panels, the left and the central panel, I wanted to go with a more abstract idea of what my strengths are. My strengths like on a continuum, and I think like the underpinning of my strengths are all the things I've overcome and being able to realize my strengths after I overcame like my own inner critic and self-doubt. So for the first image on the left, I drew a flower-like person and they're looking into the mirror at the reflection, but the reflection staring back at them is very small and it doesn't reflect reality. And I was just kind of thinking about how when you struggle with self-esteem and you think of yourself in a just a diminished view, and you don't see yourself like in reality. And I painted the background very dark because I wanted it to feel very closed off. And for the central panel, it kind of shows the transition, like breaking through through the self-esteem issues. So the mirror is cracked, and there's this mountainscape in the back. I did that to represent like the journeys that I will take in the future, and the sunflowers in the bottom represent the new people and experiences I will encounter because I was finally able to overcome that self-doubt and realize my strengths and to be able to talk about my strengths. And for this central panel, I wanted to use a lot of bright colors to represent the mood more than actuality, just as it was therapeutic for me to go through the process of kind of finding myself in that critical self-criticism state and working through it to just to be able to write down my strengths for this project even. So for the right side panel, I wrote my strengths on a timeline, just a more straightforward view of my strengths. So the first one is two baby girls. It represents me and my sister because I was born like an identical twin. And I think that affected my development because we were constantly compared, like physically or personality wise. So it always made me acutely aware of like what I was good at or what set me apart from her. But I think that comparison could be looked at as a bad thing, but a positive thing that came from it was that I was very driven to set myself apart from her. So when I um, put myself, when I found a new activity or found something I liked, I wanted to be the best at it. So it could be my thing and not her thing, but it made me very determined and driven to be good at my activities. The second sunflower is just these blocks that are kind of tipping over and falling. That kind of represented my childhood because it wasn't the most stable. But instead of looking at that as a weakness or something I should be upset about, I kind of looked at it as one of my strengths because it made me grow up and become a very responsible and independent person. And for the third sunflower, that's a cello that I drew because I'm a musician and it's just something I've been very proud of. I've been playing since I was probably 10 or 11, and it's just something I've dedicated a lot of time to, which I think is also one of my strengths that when I find something I'm passionate about, uh, I dedicate and put the hours in to become good at it. The next flower is a graduation cap that represents my graduation from high school, which I was very proud of. And I graduated with honors. I studied very hard during those years. The diploma represents college. I in college I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I changed my mind a lot, but I think that because I experienced some loss last year, it made me reevaluate things, and I realized that I didn't want to graduate with an art degree and still be working as a barista. So the work's represented by the briefcase, and the loss is represented by the heart. But it made me realize um, that I wanted to do something more meaningful, which I think that I looked at my strengths. Like, I'm a very empathetic person, and I kind of looked back at psychology because I was very interested in psychology in high school, and I thought about doing that instead of art at one point into going into undergrad. So I looked back at that, and I thought my strengths lie in art and academia, and I'm a very empathetic person. I think I'm a good listener, and I'd be well suited for this, and it's something I'm really interested in. So the psychology is represented by the last sunflower with the face in the thought bubble. So that's kind of what brought me to Adler, and it shows my journey to recognizing my strengths and being able to talk about it. So thank you.